Today's reading is an entry from the Monster Encyclopedia, Maneater, specifically the pitcher plant variant. Plant-type monsters feared as man-eating plants that lie in ambush to seize their prey in the forest. Man-eaters share a common ecology in that they have specialized leaves for seizing and restraining their human male prey, so they can continue to feed on their essence in near perpetuity. But they can be classified into several different variants depending on the shape of their leaves. The pitcher plant variant are distinguished by their massive, wandering, full, elastic, Saccophyte leaves, which can fit the entirety of their humanoid portion along with their male prey. Like other man-eaters, their body secretes a digestive fluid, which aids in their predation. When lying in wait for prey, they disperse a vaporized form of this fluid into the surrounding area. Prey who breathe it in will become unable to think straight as their brains have turned into mush, so that they won't have any second thoughts or even be able to sense the oddity of the spectacle or a beauty in the forest sitting in a bizarre sack-like plant, smiling and enticing them, although they normally would, and then after that, the pitcher plant would only have to wait with open arms, and the prey would dive into them as tempted, and wind up going into their sack. You can just call it a pitcher. Upon taking in prey in such a manner, their sacciform leaves will immediately begin to expand, completely enveloping their entire body of the prey along with their own humanoid portion, with their limbs wrapped around him firmly, arresting his movement. This chain of events is how this particular variety seizes and restrains their prey. The interior of the sac cannot be observed from the outside, however their bodies are smushed together within the confines of the narrow sac, meaning that even the slightest movement results in skin-on-skin contact, and they would be in a state where their lower halves are constantly joined together. What more, the sac is full of digestive fluids, meaning the captured man's lower half will be constantly soaked in it. Once his body is immersed, he won't be able to muster enough strength to resist the pleasure, or escape the plant, and it will be near impossible for the prey to escape the sac on his own. He would be helpless to do anything but continue to soak in the pleasure provided by the one he is joined with. She could spur ejaculation with just a slight movement, and of course, since he won't have enough strength to resist, he would have to repeatedly ejaculate and continue to periodically pour in semen. Furthermore, since they seem passive when capturing prey and are tenderly affectionate afterwards, people tend to think that they have a docile disposition compared to the flytrap variant and others. But that's a huge misconception. If a man-eater without her husband has her eyes on a man, whether she's bewitching or friendly, the only thing that she sees is prey to trap inside her leaves for life and continue to feast on. In other words, a husband-to-be. The pitcher plant variant are generally considered the most gentle-looking faces, and the looks they give men are filled with loving and kindness, but even those are no exception. Also, by their nature, all man-eaters derive a strong sense of fulfillment from continuing to keep their husbands trapped inside their leaves. So this variant is also strongly obsessed with having their husbands within their pitcher. Although, from the stirring of the sac, one can conclude that inside of it they must be gently shaking their hips together and relishing in the pleasure. The reason they can indulge in gentle love-making is that they are satisfied from having their husband in their pitcher to begin with, and that is not all that they are of a gentle disposition. Their true nature becomes readily apparent if their husband is absent from their pitcher, even if just briefly. For example, this would be true even in a situation where the husband has convinced his wife to give him permission to leave the pitcher temporarily, and even though they are in a marital relationship in which running away or being ran away from would be unthinkable. From the moment they become unable to bear their husband's absence from their pitcher, in their eyes their husband will only look like prey, and that must be caught, and they revert back to their man-eating plant ways, who will lure in, seize, and devour their prey just like the first time. All man-eaters are monsters whose predatory behavior is fundamentally governed by their lust and appetite. Even if the predation seems soft and gentle from the start, to finish it's basically impossible for them to have any such thing as a docile nature.